Hey everyone, welcome back to AI with Pallavi. Ready to learn another AWS service in just 10 minutes? Let's get started. Let's learn Amazon DynamoDB. Now, Amazon DynamoDB is a NoSQL database which is hosted on AWS infrastructure and helps you to scale to millions of requests. Let's look at the different components of Amazon DynamoDB. First thing, it's schemaless, and that's what it defines a NoSQL database. You have partition keys, you have sort keys, and you can use sort keys as well to actually pair the partition key and use for querying. You also have query flexibilities, like you can have secondary indexes that lets you query by attributes other than the primary key. Now, since the infrastructure is managed by AWS, you have on-demand versus provision capacity. Based on your request on this DynamoDB table, you can change it accordingly. You also have streams, so you can use DynamoDB streams to connect to streaming data and take actions. For example, stream feeds Lambda on every change. So that's also possible in case of DynamoDB. Now, the major difference which you need to know is between SQL and NoSQL, right? Now, since we are saying that we are using DynamoDB, which is a NoSQL database, it's very important to understand what are the features here. For NoSQL database, it is schemaless. The scaling is horizontal by design, and you have key-based access only, right? You can use the get item APIs and use that. So no ad hoc joins available, but in SQL there are. And in SQL you can use databases like RDS, Postgres, or MySQL as well. So NoSQL is best fit for if you want massive scale, if you have predictable access patterns, you know the latency. So that's how it can be managed. Now, what does each piece actually does? You have partition key design. So this is a single most important schema decision. What should be your partition key? Then you should decide the sort key and composite keys. Super important as well, because that's how you model your entire data. Then global secondary index. Now you can query by different attribute with its own partition or sort key. So that's why you can use global secondary index. Then local secondary index is also something which you can use. You can use capacity models which are on demand, provisioned, and predictable auto scaling. You can set all those things, and DynamoDB stream, which are mostly event driven and are very common in case of Lambda triggers. So definitely read about that. Then we have to design backwards, right, from your queries. So in DynamoDB, you basically ask the questions, right, directly from the data. For example, if you can see the screen on, we have mentioned that get all orders for customer 123, newest first. There are two things. First, we need to get all the orders for the particular customer with a particular key, and also need to sort them, right? So in this case, there are multiple datas which is present, you can see, and we found a perfect match where the primary key is customer ID. Generally, this is what we are showing. Then the secondary key can be the date. So this is the newest first order. So that's how you can change it. You can get the item. So one partition already sorted by sort key, 0 scans, single digit second latency. So that's how it can improve the latency. Now, there are multiple use cases which you can see for NoSQL databases. Millisecond lookups at massive concurrency, then single table design for customers, then real-time rankings across millions of players. You have high write throughput, and the data also expires accordingly. So these are the major use cases where you can actually use NoSQL databases, right? So how the end-to-end flow looks like, let's say you have an application which sends the put item call. So these are the APIs which are used for DynamoDB, and your key is hashed. DynamoDB actually routes to the item in the correct partition, and it writes that. Now, let's say if you have streams enabled, right? So once a key is identified, a stream is enabled, then you can trigger Lambda function. You can update some downstream applications as well, right? So stream changes can also be captured that way, right? So that's how the end-to-end flow looks like. Now, most important thing, where you actually need to know and what you need to know. We have DynamoDB versus RDS. We have GSI versus LSI. So these are the topics which you need to know because of the certification path, right? Now, if you're going for certifications, generally these are the questions which are asked. DynamoDB versus RDS, GSI, LSI, what does that mean? So I've categorically mentioned all of these So you can take the screenshot, and it would be very useful if you just revise this during your interview preps, also during your certification exams, right? What is eventual versus strong consistent reads, DAX versus no cache, global tables, manual replication, all these are the major concepts which revolves around DynamoDB tables. Now let's go ahead and see how this actually looks on console. Now when you go to the console, you can create the table right away. But there are a couple of things which you can see here, that you have a dashboard which actually gives you all the details about different tables you have, right? You can mark some favorite tables there, you can set up alarms, you can create DAX clusters. DAX is nothing but it's a fully managed, highly available in-memory caching service for DynamoDB itself. So that's how you can use it. Then we have multiple tables present which you can create. You can explore items across different tables. Then you can have a PartiQL, basically the queries which you can write, right? Operations performed, so you can write those as well. You can export the data from tables to S3, and you can import the data from S3. You can create some integrations, so prepare the data, set up some target services, and that's how you can create that entire ETL pipeline. You can reserve some capacity based on your limits which you have, like provision capacity, reserve capacity, and others. So let's go ahead and see, when we create a table, how does it look like. Let me name this table as demo. There can be multiple partition T. Let me give this as cust ID. It can be string, it can be binary, it can be number. So these are the types which I have. I can also define sort key if I want. So let me give the sort key as age. So I'm storing cust ID, and then I'm storing them based on age, right? So this needs to be a number. Now I can use default setting, right? This is the fastest way to create the table. The class is DynamoDB standard. There is a capacity mode, like on-demand capacity. I can also define the RCUs, WCUs later. So this is nothing but how you actually manage your DynamoDB capacity, right? How many reads can be done, write can be done. Then a local secondary index, global secondary index. So these are the things which you can do. If telling you about local and GSI. This is GSI, own partition sort key, own throughput, can be added anytime, eventual consistent is GSI index. LSI shares the base tables partition key, must be defined at table creation. So if you want to define LSI, this is the time you need to do it. Then you have resource-based policy. If you want to protect your DynamoDB table, right, you can do that. Then you can add tags. But if you look at customize setting, you have DynamoDB standard, DynamoDB IA. So this is basically like infrequently accessed data, if you can use the steering. So these are just the table class. As in S3, you get some classes, you have classes here also. You can have capacity calculator, right? What will be the average item size, how many items you are trying to read. Then accordingly you can choose the consistency, you can choose the capacity units, then eventual consistency, strong consistency, transactional. So you can choose how you want the data to be processed. And then again, on demand and provision. For provision, you need to mention some auto scaling rules. What would be the minimum capacity, maximum capacity, then minimum maximum utilization. So all those things you can define. You also have an option for warm throughput. Now what is warm throughput? Generally you will hear this a lot in terms of serverless services and others, because these are real-time services. As soon as the request comes up, the containers and the infrastructure is layered at that time, right? It's created at that time. So in that case, if you want some warm throughput, that at any particular time your DynamoDB table should be able to accept X number of requests, and apart from that it can keep on scaling, right? So you can mention that. So if you want to increase the warm throughput, that is also possible. Now you can also create secondary indexes here and the global indexes. You can estimate the read-write capacity, and basically the cost can also be mentioned there. Then encryption. If you want to encrypt your data, do you want to use AWS own key? Do you want to use AWS managed key and others? That's how you can define. Deletion protection and resource-based policy. So these are the major things which you need to know while creating the DynamoDB table. So I hope this actually helps, and go ahead and start using DynamoDB and creating DynamoDB tables, because this can help you in your own serverless pipeline. And just like that, you have learned another AWS service in 10 minutes.